Hello, welcome to McBoss Capital channel. My name is Michael Chu. This is US stock market recap video for the week ending February 20th, 2026. So we're going to start looking at the Nasdaq Composite Index. Recently, we had this 5 weeks down here, and we dropped below the red line, which is the 10-week moving average. And so last week, we finished off at the lows here, and it was looking quite dangerous at that moment. Now this week we actually went down a little bit further on Tuesday, because Monday was holiday, in the morning, and but we did bounce back right away, and then throughout the week we kind of bounced back, but we're still not out of the woods. We are still considered in a downtrend right now. We are, we had that 5 weeks down, which is 7.2% pullback, less than the 3 weeks down here earlier a few couple months ago, which was 8.8%. So we haven't gone anywhere for Nasdaq for over 2 months now, like probably closer to three or 4 months even. You can see this range. We're just stuck in this range. So the question is, will this become a bigger correction? Right now we have the black line, which is the 200 line coming up here. It's the closest we've been since the last big correction last year. So last year we broke the 200 day and it went down much further. And then previously we were able to find support near the black lines, since the bull market started in late 2022 to now. So we have only really broke the 200-day once, but right now we are very close to it right here. So the question is, how is the market going to react in the near term here as to the 200-day or 40-week line, which is the black line, is very close to the current price level. And obviously we talk about this for at least 2 to 3 weeks now, which is the software group has been hit hard. And but the index hasn't come down that much, right? We're only down 7%, but a lot of software stocks are down, more than 20% for sure. So on the daily chart here, we see the Tuesday, that was the first session of this week, bounced from the bottom, it opened lower, and then it bounced back. And then Wednesday, we came up to the green line, which is the 10-day moving average. And then Thursday, we didn't do much. We kind of fall back down below the 10-day. And then Friday, again, we test the lows here, and then we bounce back to the green line. So from that perspective, we are in a 4-day mini uptrend, you can call it, because we have make higher highs, right? And we have make higher lows at the same time. So that's a good trend, at least for, short term, very short term. But the key thing here is, can we bounce above the upper trend line here, which coincide with the 10 and 21-day line, pretty close to it. So that's what we're waiting for. If we can cross that, and then we still have this red line here that's kind of starting to slope down a little bit. That's the 50-day line, and again, that would be another line to cross here. So we have currently two level to try to clear. We want to bounce back to the 50-day, the red line, and then from there we want to come back out, right? And even then, we still have this upper resistance here at 24,000. So Nasdaq is in, not a very good shape right now. It definitely have a lot more challenges. Even if it does bounce back, it's gonna have a lot of challenges. With all that being said, anything can happen. And so don't be too optimistic at some points. It's good to be optimistic, but just be worried that, hey, this could also come down to the black line and test the black line, because we haven't tested in a while, right? So that's another thing to consider. And with NVDA earnings coming this week, I'm sure that will lead a lot of tech stocks in some ways. We'll talk more about NVIDIA later. So let's take a closer look at the Nasdaq chart on the 10-minute interval. And intraday here, we can see on Tuesday morning, we fell down and we bounced back, right? And then we actually move up higher on Wednesday. And then before we come back down, Thursday, we really didn't do much, very tight trading range. Friday, which is today, it opened up okay and started to go up and then went back down. But as news come about, I think it's probably around here, like around 11 a.m. Mountain Time. or 10, yeah, close to 11 a.m. Mountain Time or 1 p.m. Eastern. Then Trump came out and talked about the conference where he talked about the ruling from Supreme Court, against his tariff, right? So that kind of seems to have relieved the market a little bit. So we had a bounce from there throughout the end of the day, because obviously a lot of tariffs will be less than the 10% that he's going to put on at this moment for the tariff. That's what he announced as well. So yeah, hopefully this will carry market momentum. This 4 days, it looks really good. Although, I would like to see a stronger move. It's only 0.9%, and volume did come in higher, which is a good thing, but 0.9% is not enough to signify like a follow through day anyhow. So generally we want to see 1.25, 1% and or more. So here's the weekly chart on S&P 500. We also have been digesting here near the top. S&P 500 here, like kind of trading around the red line, which is the 10-week moving average. This week, similar to Nasdaq, we also bounced back towards the red line here. So yeah, trading within a very tight range. Here's the daily chart. Again, you can see we have this upper resistance level. We're trying to clear near 7,000. Right now, we just bounced back from the low here to this week, Friday. We kind of, just a little bit above the green line and the pink line and the red line. They are all converging at the same point right here. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what will happen next. But again, I think it's a little bit disappointing with higher volume today. We didn't get like a more powerful move. But I mean, it's still a good progress this week, though, right? But at least it's set up for next week. We can get a nice move out here, right? That's the wish here to see that happen. But obviously, we could come back down and test the low once again. We've just been stuck in this lower channel line here for quite a while now. So let's look at the equal weight Nasdaq 100 here. It's been pretty brutal. And this week we did bounce back a little bit, but see where it closed. It's not even at the 10-day line, so that is definitely not a good sign. However, we're looking at now equal weight S&P 500 ETF here, and look at this. We are actually not only above the 10-day moving average, and today it almost appeared like it's very close, but I think it is a new closing high. So that is very incredible. So that just shows again, this rally seems as earnings coming out, and we'll talk more about in my second video where I talk about my list of growth stocks, especially the ones that have been reported. We are seeing, quite a bit of stocks, building up over there. And so that means that earnings are really good for growth stocks, and it's not only focused in one area. It's like in many areas, so it's broadening the breadth of this rally. So we could see more potential, right? As we are coming to the end of the earnings season here. So we'll see if that actually pick up. So I like this is a really good sign that things are gonna improve probably. So thank you. We'll see. Here's Dow Jones Industrial Average, the weekly chart. This has been looking really good, right? Actually, this chart looks really good. Since the rally has started, it has continued to prove that it can stay above the red line, which is the 10-week moving average. And then this week again, we just like the other index, we did bounce back from last week. So here's the daily chart. We suffered some drop pullback last week, the week before, and then this week we were able to bounce back here. Although again, not very strong from the perspective of bouncing back. But it is near the 10-day. Is slightly above it. But like even today, I think I mean again overall it's a really good day. It's an outside range day from yesterday, and it closed at the top side. But we are still below the 10-day. And again, we're not really, decisively above this short-term moving average. So here's Russell 2000 weekly chart. Yeah, so this is a really strong rally as well. We have this undercut here on the red line, which is the 10-week moving average. Late last year here. And then this recent pullbacks since January, we have been finding support at the 10 week, so that is good sign as well. And then this week, yeah, we bounced back from that line as well. Let's look at the daily chart here, so we can see this, and then the recent pullback here, and the bounce this week. This again is not the strongest chart, like it's again hovering near the 10-day, the green line, the pink line, 21-day, and the 50 days down here. So at least this one is still staying above 50-day. But yeah, it's not making a lot of progress, right? It's been very turbulent, very choppy market, very challenging in that sense, especially for my style of trading. So because I do trade short term, and following the momentum. So with this back and forth action, I usually get chop out. So that's what happens. So here's the innovator IBD 50 ETF. We talked about this the week before. We had a sharp drop. We bounced all the way to the black line, which is the 40-week moving average. And from there, we came back above the red line there on the same week, which is very promising. And then last week we were able to follow through, and we talk about, yeah, might be worthwhile to study the IBD 50 list because it's doing really well. It's bouncing back. This is a nice cup. We've had a really deep handle pattern, but now we're starting to try to come out of this handle right there. And then this week we again we tested the lows here, and we bounced back to a new closing high as well. So that's very promising. So here you go. We're bouncing back right there. So we're very close to breaking out. But again, this big week has been quite positive for the IBD 50, and even today we have higher volume, and we're able to shoot up close to 2%. So that's a pretty good movement there for price wise. Yeah, I think this is worth studying. Whatever, again, with all this earnings news, probably a lot of stocks are changing on the IBD 50. So if you are a subscriber to that, again, that may help you find some stocks there. But a lot of those stocks are probably on my list too. So make sure you follow my second video, and we'll go through that. Here's the 10-year Treasury yield. We are at 4.08%. We come back, bounce back a little bit from the low here, as the 10-day here is coming down. So it's still in a big downtrend. So that's not too bad. I think with the yield down, interest rate will be lower. So that's a good thing. The USD has been bouncing back as well this week. So it was trading really tight last week, and this week we're able to come back to this red line, and we did find resistance here on Friday, but not a big drop, but still, we're still seeing resistance there. So we'll see how this act next week. And of course, the big story this week with the oil price jumping here as Iran and U.S. tensions are rising, and U.S. is pondering possible military action. So that's very interesting, and this is causing the oil price to break out right here from this handle. I don't have many oil stocks on my list just because a lot of them, their fundamentals are not that strong. But as a sector wise, they're definitely moving up, right? We've been coming up, quite a bit now, and recently just take a break here. So now we're breaking out again. So it's definitely worth, looking at least the ETF from that perspective. So this is the XLE, the energy, S&P energy sector ETF. Look at this chart, it's very nice. I mean, it has been running for a while now. So definitely, again, continue to break out on Thursday here. Before pulling back on Friday, but the strength is very strong. Let's look at gold. Gold is actually finding support. It dropped on Tuesday pretty sharply, and then before rebounding on Wednesday, and then it was trading pretty tight on Thursday, and Friday we're able to fall through again. Looks like a new closing recent high here, so this is also very promising. Silver also make a huge move today. Look at that. It's bouncing back, above the 10-day or the short-term moving average. Also, this could be maybe continuation of the recent rally here before this correction. And now, if the correction is over, we could be bouncing back. So that's worthwhile to watch as well. Copper, I mean, this is still kind of near the trend line, so very close. I mean, it is slightly above the 10-day on the daily chart. So it's possible This could continue to move as well. They tend to move together, all this commodities area. Here's uranium. This one also starting to come back up. All 4 days were up days this week, so very nice. Bitcoin didn't make much of a move this week. Trading very tight, going sideways. I don't like this pattern. The 10 days coming down, right? And this is look more like an L-shaped pattern, which is not a very. It is a bearish pattern, so it could easily fall apart again. It doesn't even have the strength to bounce back to the 10-day. So from that perspective, it's very weak. Here's from the IBD newspaper, the NYSE advanced decline daily line at the bottom here, and then we have the S&P 500 up here. As you can see, the advanced decline line is actually near, like I can't really tell, but it looks like a new high right here, just barely. And S&P is actually not at a new high, so this is telling us that the just based on the stocks, the number of stocks, right? It has nothing to do with weighting in terms of price and stuff. Just the number of stocks is actually broadening, right? It's actually moving up higher. There's more stocks advancing than declining. So this is another good sign, just like when we saw in RSP, the equal weight index. For Nasdaq, we are still looking pretty bad here in terms of where it stands. It looks very similar to the index where the advanced decline line is just stuck near the bottom range recently. So let's look at some economic data here from this week. This is from Investor Business Daily newspaper. Fourth quarter GDP rose at tepid 1.4% annually, which is way below views. I think the views was around 2.5%. The core PCE also showed that it is rising as well to 3%. But the manufacturing index also show a lot of strength here. So again, the big news this week, the Supreme Court struck down President Trump's global tariffs. The High Court ruled it exceed his powers under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act by imposing duties without approval from Congress. He responded by calling the decision a disgrace and announced plans for a global 10% tariff under Section 122 of the Trade Act of 1974. So this will be a win for countries that are higher tariff levels right now, at a higher tariff level. So if they have 15% or 20%, they will be only paying 10%. But this ruling adds some clarity, and the flight over leverage looks to have a long road to run yet. And we already talked about the PCE. Next week we have less economic news, but we have the conflict with Iran still casting a shadow here. And we have the Conference Board Consumer Confidence Index on drop on Tuesday, and Friday we'll see the latest Producer Price Index. And again, earnings, we're going to see NVDA, we're going to see Home Depot, Snowflake, Zscaler. For the final segment of this video, we go through the major mega cap tech stocks here. First, we'll look at the semiconductor ETF from Nasdaq, and we are showing good signs. We are, staying above the 10-day. We are not too far from the high. This look very productive. The chip sector is still remaining one of the stronger areas in the market. Here's Nvidia again, very turbulent. Long base setup, right? Hasn't really traded much in the top half of the base, so that's the big problem. It's been just trading at the lows here, testing the lows, testing this 10 to 21 day line for many times. Right now we're seeing back above that short-term moving average. However, again, it's so much turbulence. It's probably best to wait until it can clear at least the resistance here around 194 level here, because that coincide with two previous resistance points right there, the highest points. Right? Next we have TSM here, also doing pretty good. It went up, and then we have this pullback recently here, and then today we bounced strong. Right? I mean the volume is still lower than average, but at least it bounced, and let me see, did it make a new closing high? No, not quite, because the closing high was from this day here. So not quite. AMD is still stuck below a trend line, so not doing well. Again, this looked like an L-shaped pattern here. a mini L-shaped pattern, and don't like that. Here's the Broadcom, also stuck below the red line here, finding resistance as well. Not good. Next, we'll jump into the software. Look at this software has been hit hard. You can see this pattern here again, not very productive pattern. It's actually a bearish pattern forming L shape. We have this strong resistance here. Look at this today. I mean, we can't even climb up or close even at the green line. We got rejected to the bottom again. This is just not good, right? This is it can easily break 80 and make a new low. Here's Microsoft, very similar chart to IGV. In fact, I think Microsoft is probably the number one software in the group, in the software group to signify whether this group is bottom. Is by looking at Microsoft, just because of how much enterprise software they're dealing with, yeah. So again, this is a very bad pattern. It can't even come up to the green line this week. Like, despite we have a positive market, it couldn't. Like, this RS line just continued to go down. Here's Google. Google is also coming down, but this has a very positive day today. I don't know if there's any news. I didn't hear any, but this is very good momentum. 4% up day on higher volume. It comes back above the green line. It's still not completely clear yet. We still have, the 21-day line here, and we also have the 50-day line there, which is very close to each other. So if we come above here, that will be very positive. I will be, waiting for that entry point. Here's Palantir. It's still kind of stuck. Again, this is an L-shaped pattern. Look at this. It rejected at the green line here as well. It just can't move past it. It just get rejected at the short term moving average. Here's Amazon, looking pretty bad. However, this one, even though it looked like L-shaped pattern, it was able to bounce out of this pattern by climbing back above the 10-day. It's very close to the 10-day, but it's still slightly above it. Also, the volume is higher on this support level, so that looks good. There's above average volume here. So this looks promising. So, along with Google and Amazon, I think this is also worth watching. Here's Meta, also doing a really nice move today, bouncing back. It's still near the trend line here, like the short-term moving average. So again, it's very similar behavior. Let's watch this. At least they're reacting well today, and most likely, the tariff news may be related. I don't know, but it seems to help move this. Next, we look at Apple. Apple, had this cup with handle pattern, but it kind of broke down here, and right now it's stuck. Now it could climb back. That would be a good sign, but I don't like this, right? 4 days this week. Again, despite the market being positive, it was actually stuck below the short-term moving average. It just couldn't come back above it. Again, there's always a chance it can. If the market gets stronger, maybe it will revive, right? But it's just, to me, this is a sign of lagging other stocks here. Here's Tesla. Tesla is still in a downtrend mode. Again, very similar. I don't understand why it just can't come above the green line here. Very disappointing, just like Apple. And here's Netflix, continue this trend line down. Where also where not very good. Now it is bouncing back to 10-day, but that's still not good. Like, why can't it just come above it? So thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed this, please give it a thumbs up and share this, or comment whatever you like. And please stay tuned for my next video where I'll cover my growth stocks list. If we were to break out from here next week, and just like RSP did, we could see a lot of stocks breaking out. So definitely want to be ready for that. Thank you all for watching. Have a good weekend.